our next piece is going to be Suzanne from the CYFAR PDTA Center is going to talk a little bit more about creating and using a logic model, and particularly the logic models that USDA NIFA asks for in the Sustainable Community Project grants. Suzanne, I turn it to you.
Thank you, Steph. So thank you. I know that when you apply for a grant, especially in the social sciences, I want to say you always have to complete a logic model, but I don't know if that's actually true that it's always, but most grant programs will ask you for a logic model. So we are going to do a quick overview of what a logic model looks like. And then I will talk a little bit about how the logic model for USDA and NIFA is slightly different than what you may have seen before. So if we can go to the next slide, Steph. Thank you. So what is a logic model actually? And you'll hear different names for this, but I think a logic model is really a roadmap. It shows where you are going with your program, how you'll get there, and how will you know that you have arrived. Of course, we want to know that you have met your outcomes that you had set at the beginning of your program. So as I mentioned, logic models have many names. They can also be called a theory of change or a conceptual framework, model of change. They have all kinds of names. We like to use the name logic model because it uses both the logical way of how your program will work and puts it in a model for all of us to see. Logic models by themselves do not represent how a program is truly implemented or a method of evaluation. It gives a big picture overview of what you propose to do and how you will evaluate whether you got there. They have some benefits. They focus on the outcomes, and those are, of course, where you want to get. So they encourage accountability. They provide a common language. You can share your logic model with us, with NIFA, with your stakeholders, and we can all see what you propose to do and can ask you about those things. They make assumptions explicit, and that's a really nice thing about a logic model is that you are forced to think about beforehand, when will I collect my data? How will I collect my data? By using a logic model, you support continuous improvement. You will be looking at your data on a regular basis, and you can improve your program as it is going, rather than changing your program because you feel like you have to, but not really knowing why. And they promote communication and clear expectations for the program. So there are some really simple examples of a logic model, because logic models do not have to be complicated, although they can be. So this is a problem statement. I am hungry. So what do you need to do? You need to get an input, a resource, food. Then you have an activity, what you're doing, you're eating the food. And then at the end, you feel satisfied. Your hunger is gone. That was the outcome that you were looking for when you felt your stomach growl and hunger. The steps in between were steps to get to the outcome. The feeling satisfied is really the desired end result. We can make it slightly more complicated. Okay, so we have a problem statement. My family needs a vacation. Don't we all right now? I would like a vacation. So we have some inputs. Who's going on vacation with you? Family members. How much money do you have to spend? What's your budget? How are you getting there with the car? And then where are you sleeping? In a tent. We need camping equipment. Then we have the outputs. Again, these are the activities that we're doing. We're driving to the state park. You set up your camp, and then with your families, you cook, play, talk, laugh, hike, bike, swim, fish, all these activities you do. The outcome is that you feel rested, that your family members learn about each other, that you bond, and that you have fun. That was the desired outcome when you started planning your vacation, and the inputs and outputs just made the outcome possible. So in a little bit, we will actually look at the logic model builder on CYFAR Suite. This is a builder that helps you create your logic model, and it uses language that aligns with USDA and NIFA requirements. So it looks slightly different than this inputs, outputs, outcomes logic model that I've showed. And it is intended to help projects develop strategic actions and timelines. And when you are funded, the logic model will help you when you are reporting on your process, progress, and activities. Okay, so now I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Oh. And I can. So if everything worked, then you can now see a part of a logic model. You'll see in the top left the identified needs and assets. The second column is desired results. Those are your outcomes. Those are the ones that that you want to get to at the end of your CYFAR grant. Then you'll see the indicators, which is how do you know that you have met your desired results? What activities are you going to do, and what resources will you need? This is a logic model from a grant that has ended, but it was a strong logic model. So you start with the needs. What are the needs in the community? And that can be one need, or it can be a tied needs where, oh, so, thank you, Steph. So this program, they have a high level needs, which is help high-risk youth and families gain knowledge and skills to prepare nutritious food and increase physical activity. And then they have specified 3 different tiers of how they have identified those needs. And then they have assets. They already have some things in place that can help fulfill that need. Partnership with state and local agencies and a relationship with the city's public school system. The next column is the desired results, and that is probably your most important part of the logic model. It lists it's the focus of your program and lists the expected changes that will happen within your community. The NIFA logic model asks for short-term desired results and long-term desired results. The short-term desired results should be concrete and measurable. They should be linked to the needs in your community, to the program activities that you are doing. And they must be reported on every year of your program. The long-term desired results are more complicated. They extend beyond just the change in knowledge and skills. It is changes in organization, system change, increased community capacity, or long-term behavioral change in your participants. You can report progress on long-term results in every year of your program, but you must report them in years 4 and 5. We recommend that you limit the number of desired results. A good number for the short term is 2 or 3, and a good number for the long-term desired results is 1 or 2. Okay, so now you've really thought at what do I want at the end of my program? What do I want to see in my community? Now, the next step is looking at how you are going to make that happen and how you are going to measure that change. And that is where you use the indicators. They should flow logically from the desired results. They should be results or activities that can be measured. So you can measure these with surveys, focus groups, journals from your participants, And then one thing that is really important, if you can use our common measures for any of these indicators, you should, because the common measures are required. All CYFAR grantees are required to use the common measures with their participants. So if you can measure some of these indicators with the common measures, that will limit the number of surveys, questionnaires you need to do, the number of ways you need to collect data. And we will look at the common measures in a little bit when I have gone through the logic model. Some tips on indicators. The more specific they are, the easier it is to collect and report on your data. Between the desired result and the indicator, the more complex your desired result is, the more indicators you might need to measure that desired result. Then the fourth column is the activities, and this is what you are going to do to achieve the desired results. And so they are only important when they are connected to the desired results. They can be linked through the choice of your program, the research upon which your program is based, the population you are serving, and critical elements of successful programs. A tip here is to pay attention to and include how you will integrate technology in your programming, because that is often an oversight, while most programs do use technology. So pay attention to that. And the last column in this part of the logic model is resources. So what do you already have in place at your institution that can help facilitate a successful sustainability community program? Resources are people, your extension staff, collaborations with community programs that you already have, your stakeholders, who are you serving? Is there already a curriculum at your institution that you're using for programming that you can use for this? Do you have access to spaces where you can hold your programming? Do you have approvals from your partnerships that you're working with? All those things are resources that can help you meet the need of your program. After you have filled out this part of the logic model, you'll go to the second part, where our tool automatically populates the first column indicators from the top part of your logic model. And so this is where we are going to ask you, how specifically do you, are you going to know that you met your short-term desired results, your indicators? So we ask for who, when, how, and what. Who are you going to ask for data? Are you going to pull participation data from a system you're already using? Are you going to survey your participants? How are you getting your data? The time of collection, when are you going to collect your data? A lot of programs, well, all of the programs will do a pre-survey because we have the common measures at pre, and you will do a post-survey because we have the common measures at post. But are there other things you're collecting at other times within the program? The method of collection, are you doing surveys? Are you hosting focus group? Are your participants, like in this program, wearing a Fitbit, and are you collecting that data? How are you going to collect it? And then the last thing is, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to analyze the data so that you know whether or not you met your outcome? And this, as with the short-term desired results, the long-term desired results also pre-populate indicators, pre-populate into the tool for you. This is the same as with the short-term results. We ask you who will provide you with the data, when are you going to collect it, how are you going to collect it, and what are you going to do with the data? How are you going to analyze it? these are the components of USDA's logic model that will directly apply to your grant if you are funded. Now, I mentioned the common measures, and I want to show them to you just so that you know the measures that we ask you to use regardless of your programming. This is on the CYFAR website, cyfar.org, but instead of going to tools where you have a logic model building, you go to evaluation and click common measures. And then it'll bring you to this page. The top is starts with revision of the CYFAR common measures, which is what we did about 1.5 years ago. And so for you, this will not be a revision. It will be what you just have to do. And the only thing you know, for existing programs, they had to make a switch. So at pretest, before you start your programming, we ask that your participants complete a demographics measure, skills for everyday living, or as we call it in short, life skills, and resilience. So 3 measures. And we ask all age groups to do these questions. At post-test, the same 3 measures as at pre, so demographics, life skills, and resilience. But in addition, we ask for program quality. We ask about participation. So how many of the sessions did the participants attend, and how many did they skip? And engagement. So did they like the program? Did they actively participate? And in addition to this, we will ask the program some of these questions as well. So we will ask you, how many sessions did you offer? And how long were they, so that we know that data for everyone. So these measures are all on this page, and they are tailored to the age group. So we have the measures for youth, which is about 10 to 18, an adult version, which is about 18 and up, and then we have a child version, which is birth. There are not many babies we ask to complete a survey, but up until about age 9. And you can find all of these here. But if you are funded, the PDTA Center will help you with setting up these surveys and explain how you report on this data. I want to take a moment to see if there are any questions before I show the logic model tool. And I don't hear anything, so I think that means that I can actually show you Logic Model Builder in CYFAR Suite. I'm going to try to explain and type at the same time. So bear with me, please. Okay, so if you log into CYFAR Suite, so if you are on the CYFAR website, you go to Tools, you click Logic Model Builder. If you don't have an account yet, you'll create one first, but then you can log in and actually get to this page. This is what it looks like. There is some information here on what a logic model is and how how the builder works. So if you run into issues when you are working on this, there are some resources, but you just click Build a Logic Model. You start with a title, and I'm just going to call it Grant Writing. And so this is the builder. It gives you text boxes for needs and assets first, and you cannot do anything until you complete these boxes. So the needs is increase applicants' CYFAR applications. 18. I forgot the years, 1862s, 1890s, and 1994s. Okay, that is our needs. That's what we would like to do. And CYFAR PDTA Center is an asset that we have. And we have another asset, which is USDA NIFA. Okay, so save and continue. Now that I have that set up, my needs and my assets, I can move on to the short-term results. And my first short-term results is increase the number of applications. My long-term result is increase number of successful. I'm just making this up. Just want to show you. Okay. My first short-term indicator is number of applications goes up by 25%. And my long-term is number of approved applications increases by 25%. And I'm going to again hit save and continue. And as you can see, the short and long-term indicators are now automatically represented in your short-term desired results and your long-term desired results. The activities is the grant writing workshop. There we go. Any questions about the builder, the common measures, any other part of the logic model?
We had one question in the chat, which I answered
Okay.
there, but we can also answer out loud for everybody, asking about if the surveys are in Qualtrics and if the results of the common measures go to a central location, or does each recipient kind of access and maintain their own data?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So because we made the change to the common measures, this fancy tool up here called Survey Builder is not ready yet for the new common measures. So now we do have the common measures in Qualtrics, and most institutions, what we've done is we've shared the survey with the institutions. They created their own copy so that all the data doesn't come into our Qualtrics account, and then participants or SCPs share their data with us. That happens hopefully soon again in Survey Builder. There is a tool to upload your data, and then it gets stored in our central database, but you still have access to it yourself as well, because it is not that you have to hand over your data to us and you lost it. You keep your data yourself and you share with us. So the Survey Builder can also eventually host the surveys online, but for now, yes, it is in Qualtrics. Any other questions? Awesome. Then
One more question in the chat asking if IRB is required. So at your institution, you'll need to get IRB approval for collecting this data from your participants. The PDTA Center doesn't offer an IRB service. We're covered by our own institutional IRBs.